Okay, so here's your problem. The spring is snapped in half. You got to get it off of there, and you got to get a new spring. There's no other choice. To get the old garbage off, the first thing you do is you got to loosen these pulleys so you'll be able to slide the shaft out to get all that junk off the end. You can mark everything and get it back in the same place, but I'm not going to because everything's pretty much marked with the rust spots. And the shaft is nice and long, so it doesn't really matter. I got lots of room here to play with. Okay, we got the right pulley free. Next, we're going to loosen the spring up. This is what holds the spring tension. There's no worries here because all the tension's out of the spring now because it's busted. Then we loosen the cable pulley on the other side. We've got to get both of the pulleys spinning free so we can slide that shaft out. Your door might not look like this. It might be the spring on the other side. It's all the same though. It's the same procedure. You don't worry about those cables hanging either. They're just going to do that until we tighten them up and get them back in track here. Now we just take the two bolts out that hold the spring to the frame. Now you want to wiggle and slide the shaft out. Take all the junk off and get the broken spring off here. Set everything aside. Have to excuse my sloppiness here. I'm working with one hand and trying to hold the camera with the other hand. This little plastic bearing here, we're going to use that over again on the new spring. Now we take the garbage off. We're going to probably take this to the hardware store to try to match it up. We got to make sure we get the same kind. So when you get your new spring, the main thing you got to watch out for is the way the spring wraps around here. You got to get the same direction of wrap because there's a left-handed spring and a right-handed spring. This one is left. The right-handed is usually spray painted red. Now we're going to put the new spring in place. The old plastic bushing we saved goes in the new spring. Just slide it back into the bearing housing. Then you put a little grease where the plastic bushing is going to ride on the shaft. You just bolt the spring up to the frame with the two bolts we saved from before. Then we need to tighten the cables up on both sides. Get them in the track right. Once the cable's in the track right and tight, you need to tighten up the two hold down bolts that we loosened up before. They hold the pulley tight on the shaft. Then you go over to the other side and do the same thing. Then you want to clamp a vice grip on the shaft so the pulleys don't turn and loosen the cable up while you're tightening your spring. Now the critical part, tightening the spring up. Make sure you get the bars in all the way, and you want to make sure you're standing to the side in case something flies loose. On a typical size door, we'll do this 27 quarter turns. That's what I'm going to do here. Then I'm going to check the weight of the door and see if it's too heavy or not. I wouldn't go more than 29. Then you have to tighten the 2 spring hold down bolts, lock it in the spring into place on the shaft. Make sure you get them good and snug, but don't strip them out. Now the final step, to remove the bars and put the spring tension onto the door. Now you're done. Now go down and check the door and see if it's too heavy. If it is, give it 3 more quarter turns and then check it again.